Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Busy hour on tap. Bottom of the hour, our weekly look at the best and the worst ATS teams in the NBA and college basketball with totals as well. Our best bets in pocket plays to close up shop here, beginning the hour with a longtime sports writer in Philadelphia, Ed Barkowitz, who is no longer a full-time sports writer, but he's also covered sports betting for a long, long time, and he has been teaching a class at Rowan University in that great area for a couple of years now in studio. He's in Vegas this week. Good to finally meet you.
Yeah, it's great to meet you. Certainly big fans of you guys. How's the transition been from the mornings to the afternoon? Is life quality up high?
Yes.
What do you think, Paul?
Big time.
Yeah.
Yes, good for you.
The 2 a.m. wake-up call. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, good for you.
So thank goodness. Do you, first of all, do you miss covering sports betting in Philadelphia full time?
Well, a little bit, sure. You miss, the camaraderie of, being in the press box and having to rip up your story when the Flyers blow a 3-game lead in the last 5 minutes and all the mayhem that comes with that.
Yeah.
I don't miss that.
Yeah.
But, you sometimes get to know the players a little bit, and, that's always fun. And, you have some stories that, certainly can't tell necessarily. But, they're interesting people beyond what they do on the court. And I miss some of that relationship with the guys.
So you started teaching, you went from that and then, covering sports betting as well, and then into teaching a class of sports betting at Rowan University. This was a trial basis a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it felt like maybe it was a little bit of a probationary type of thing. And to be very clear, I'm not a sharp sports bettor. I'm not a professional guy. In fact, I took Campbell, when you guys were talking about UNC Campbell, Wilmington and Campbell at 3, and that line then went to 3.5. So they saw my money and said, yeah, okay, let's bump this number up. But anyway, the class, the sports betting class, is teaching journalists, journalism students, the finer points of covering sports betting, so that when we get a note that there's something goofy happening in a Temple UAB game, or if Jonte Porter is in hot water, or if Shohei Ohtani's interpreter is doing something. Well, this is giving them the skills that David Purdom has and Patrick Everson and Ben Fawkes, those type of guys. When you find out this information, what do you do with it next? And that's a focus of this. And the first half of the semester is basically beating the parlay out of them. They glorify the parlay. Everybody wants 18 parlays. They want, the life-changing money.
Oh, so they come into class with that attitude.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The kids think that it's just going to be, hey, he's giving out winners. It's not the case. And then when we teach, the first thing I teach is, minus 110. And when the difference between a book having minus 117 and minus 110 and why that could be predatory. And those finer points, and they understand they come in understanding what an over and under is, and I'd like to think they leave knowing who Billy Walters is.
Oh, very nice. Well said. But this is also a really good sign for you, and I think the students in the school overall, and I think maybe the country or others, because it turned in from like a 2-year trial run into full-time curriculum now.
Yeah, it's on Rowan's full-time curriculum starting in the fall, I guess, which is when I teach. I don't teach in the spring. There's just too much going on in life. And frankly, you get more engagement. There's more to talk about in the fall for obvious reasons. So it is the kind of thing that I think, frankly, is needed. Guys talked about the sports betting scandals in the colleges, and that's where those things originate. Kids at Eastern Michigan or Fresno State or those type of things, and the vulnerability there. And I think teaching kids about sports betting as early as you can and how dangerous it can be. I mean, we love it because we have a handle on it, but we're not 19 years old.
Well said again.
Yeah. And what do you teach? Great timing also. What do you teach your students? Because 40 did a great job nailing this at Sports Illustrated and tracking down Sugar Shane Wins and the character who was arrested and his history, the track record and all the bets and the line movement. And I also told them, go to VSiN.com or Wager Talk and you can see what the line opened at and when it closed at and such. But what would you see how do you get this information once it's out there and try to put this and piece it together and do some journalism?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And the thing I preach is you got to get out there. Put yourself out there. Go to conferences like Bet Bash. Go to the SBCs. Find ways to be in front of people who are making decisions. The Tom Gables of the world in Atlantic City. Certainly Ed Salmon's out here. Find ways to not ingratiate yourself. It's not like a poor thing. It's let them know, be in front of them, work. It's like any other beat, and learn and read and follow Dave Purdom and you guys and VSiN and John Tobel and all those type of things to understand how sports betting has become what it is. Do
you know how many other universities across the country are doing something similar?
A few. I know that there's another one at a college in New Jersey, and it's escaping me. And I've actually thought about putting something together to help these schools and help teach kids. I think Dave Purdom earlier mentioned the idea of there being player props on college players. I couldn't agree with him more. There doesn't need to be that. Keep the player props into the professionals. Betting an Eastern Michigan kid to score 4.5, well, probably 14.5. Go bet on Sidney Crosby to get 2 assists. There's so many other things out there. It doesn't need to be.
I would say this too. You're exactly like some of these lower or fringe schools, like the Fresno States of the world. They're not, and they're like Mountain West is actually a pretty decent conference, but even like way below that. Yes, there's no reason to have those up. If you want to put up like college basketball props in the Final Four, right? Those kids aren't going to be tanking. If you want to put them up in the college football playoff, well, they're going to try to win a national title. I would say then it's probably okay. Would you agree with that, or wipe them out all?
No, I think you just take the complication out. Frankly, I mean it's the market wasn't ready for that. It's been described to me that in sports betting we're like in the bottom of the first inning here in the United States. I think there needs to be more education as it relates to not only the kids who are playing but the kids who are betting. And they need to understand, one of the funny things, and it's not funny, but in Dave Purdom's story and his lead, which Mitch, you talked to him about, was, they're sitting around eating burgers and fries and taking pictures of each other. One of the lessons that we have in the sports betting class is the Alabama baseball scandal.
Yes.
That is the most egregious thing that I've come across.
Good for you.
Where the bad guy, Bert Neff, is in Great American Ballpark trying to put a bet against Alabama, put on LSU. Paul Skeens was pitching that day for LSU, by the way, and says to the sportsbook operator, "You can't believe what I have. Give me a mint on Alabama on LSU baseball." No, they're going to flag that. They're going to see that. They're taking screenshots of his phone that he's been in touch with the Alabama coach, and the Alabama coach who's making $500,000 loses his job.
He's yelling, "I have inside information to everybody." That's nuts.
That's where I think the education needs to be, not to help facilitate nefarious play, but to understand that sports books are watching this stuff. You're going to get caught.
Just don't be a dummy.
Oh, that too.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's as bad as it gets. You're right. You called it egregious. I mean, Paul, we've said that many times. The guy is at the counter telling the people behind the book, "I got inside information here." How do you think they're going to respond?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like telling a blackjack dealer, "I know the next 5 cards."
I've been counting for a while, pal. I know what's coming up.
The other one is they walk up to the counter, think they can bet whatever, and don't care what the number is, and don't know anything about juice, $1.10, all of that.
Right.
And it's like, and I know Robert Walker has talked about that. I think it was Toledo football, whatever. But the guy's sitting there and, "Okay, I'm going to move it to 12. Okay, go ahead. I'm going to bet it again. Move it to 13. And the guy keeps betting. He goes, "It's a 3-point difference across the street." And the guy doesn't care what the number is, and he continues to bet it for whatever he can. Yeah. I mean, that some of the stuff is lunacy.
Sure. So, I mean, that story, though, with that selfie that they took sitting down in Atlantic City, you've probably been to that spot a lot. Right, because you probably don't live that far from there.
Yeah, no, in Atlantic City probably more often than I should. I mean, I think that one of the great things about Vegas, living in Philadelphia, is that it is 2,500 miles away from us, so you can't get here every weekend. Mm-hmm. But there's plenty of action to be had in Atlantic City, and I will say this: in New Jersey, there are a lot more betting options. There's a lot more markets than there are in Las Vegas and even Nevada. Last night, Sixers and Knicks I wanted to get down on that game, and it had already started. I'm like, okay, well, how about in-game? And we were over at the Fontainebleau. And I said, nah, we're not offering in-game at this point at the Fontainebleau. Some places do offer in-game. We were hammering the Bulls against the Sixers a couple nights ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but so that's there are more options in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. They're not necessarily great options as far as odds and the sharp guys, but there definitely are more options.
Yeah. How many books are actually in New Jersey right now? Do you know?
It was about 18 or so. There's
that's more than us.
Each casino gets, my understanding, gets 3 skins where they can farm out their sports betting license.
I will say this. We're starting to get that national influence at a couple of books here in Las Vegas. The horror stories that you heard about from like Spanky Right Away, and others are like, you're taking $8 on a bet. What are you doing here? Yeah, that's now happening in Las Vegas.
Is that right?
Oh, it happens. I'm up to my. I'm almost ready to tap out at least one book.
Wow, and that's a thing that we ended the semester with. Toward the end of the semester was the Massachusetts stuff and how their regulators are starting to get interested in how DraftKings is just seemingly banning people for winning, and their executives don't necessarily hide that fact.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was Massachusetts, and I think I saw one
Washington.
There you go. Yeah, that's good, right?
I think
at least, and so that should be like the future of sports betting too. Right on the app, it tells you this is how much you can get down.
Yeah.
All right. None of this bull crap about it spins and spins and spins. Send to a trader. Hey, do you want 19 cents on it? No, thank you.
And they move the odds.
And then they move the odds. Yep. We've all had that.
Yep. More with Ed Barkowitz coming up next. The Philly sports scene. 76ers were 1-10 in February. What's the short term? What's the long term with this team as well?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue here with Ed Barkowitz in studio. He covered Philadelphia sports for a long time, then got into covering sports betting, now teaches a class at Rowan University, and it's really cool to hear that it was on a 2-year trial basis, but then after this year turned into a full-time curriculum at the university. He's in studio here with us today. We were talking about this during the break. The stories of like Michael Jordan going and playing at AC. Right? He had to get his blackjack fix in. Pauly reminded us of when we were at Foxwoods. Kendrick Perkins came on and said, oh, yeah, man, my Celtics teammates and I, specifically him and maybe like one other player, they would make the drive to Foxwoods and spend a lot of time there playing blackjack. Do you still get those stories today, like modern-day players going? A lot of major American cities in that neighborhood that you can get there probably within an hour or two.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the guys still go to the casinos in Atlantic City as much as they used to, because there is other ways to wager. But I remember having a conversation real quick with Allen Iverson a couple of years ago. I said, how much better is your life that there is not a casino within walking distance of the Wells Fargo when you played? Because there is one now. Oh, you can walk from Live Casino to the Wells Fargo Center. It's 6 blocks. He said I would have lived there.
Really?
He enjoyed playing. But that was obviously he played before the expansion of gambling, certainly sports betting, but casinos coming into Philadelphia. Back when he was playing, you would have had to go to Atlantic City or the Poconos or somewhere like that. But yeah, there's certainly plenty of stories of the fellas missing practice the next day. I mean, that's one of the reasons morning shoot-arounds and morning skates exist, is to make sure that you're not still out from the night before. Yeah. And some of those were tested.
I think it was Chandler Parsons on a recent podcast that he does. He said 100% of the time in the NBA, when you see illness or flu-like symptoms, he said 100% of the time it means they're hungover.
Yeah. Allen had a lot of flu. I'm kidding. That makes sense. I mean, these are guys with more money than they know what to do with and time, frankly. And, it's why the schedule sometimes is set up the way it is in professionals. You get there the night before and you're out that night after the game frequently, especially in the NBA and NHL, which have so many games.
Social media has changed things. Jordan could not It'd be a whole different ball game if there was social media when Jordan was playing.
Yeah, I mean, and they have back rooms and high roller areas, but you're right. It's one of the things that have diminished just living for some of these guys.
Well, even like Jordan going to play golf with Roenick.
Yeah,
and
I can't believe that.
Slamming what was it, 18 beers plus?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go score 40 tonight. Roenick's on the phone with his bookie. Oh, God, I got to fade Jordan tonight. And he goes off, kills him. People on the golf course would have been taking video. He would have been killed for that,
Right.
Forget it.
But we would have tried to get down on it.
Of course. So Iverson has to be, in like recent, like Philadelphia, like last 30 years or so, one of the most beloved like athletes to go through there because he did kill it, right? And he went out there with the effort, and he would always play. Now, the juxtaposition here from him to a guy like Joel Embiid, where is he at overall with the fan base?
Yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit like an Eric Lindros situation in Philly, for me at least. The guy who came in was the savior of the franchise, took him to the finals. And obviously, Joe hasn't gotten past the second round, but the idea being is this guy, all this was predicated on Joel Embiid and the process and all that other stuff. Now they're selling tickets for $2, Sixers. You can get a ticket for $2 at least, and it was a great line by a woman who covers the Sixers for the Philadelphia Inquirer. You bought a ticket for $2 to that Chicago Bulls game on was that Monday, and you got your money's worth because they got hammered.
Down by 50
at one point. Like I said, the live betting, that to me is the future of it, if it's not already here. But yeah, the Sixers, I texted with Keith Pompey, who covers another one of the Sixers beat writers. I said, nice team you got there. And he said, they are ass. I'm like, yeah. And he's got another 2 months of dragging that around.
Sure. Wow. Now, they were actually live in that game against the Knicks the other night. But moving forward here, like, what is there a betting angle? I mean, they have to get the right. Don't they have to like tank the rest of the year to keep that top 6 protected pick?
You would think. I mean, yeah. I mean, Embiid, I can't see why they would win. I mean, it's what they did 5 years ago to get picks. And during this 9-game losing streak, they didn't cover 8 of the first 8.
That's right.
And a lot of times, not even close.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do as a square is think that I know something that I don't. But like, if you could see body language, especially in pros, see body language, that to me is something where you maybe get involved, get down on in game.
How so? What different aspects, angles?
Well,
tuning out the coach? What?
Well, some of that. Okay. The coach keeps talking about effort.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid having a little beef back in November about Embiid being late for meetings.
He called them out, right?
I mean, those type of things. And then you see defensive effort and loose balls and that kind of thing, dunks and don't really care. And just to me, there's a lot of body language. A guy gets taken out of the game, doesn't make eye contact with the coach.
Very good.
Those type of things.
You have a lot of pro teams, obviously, there. Do you ever go to games specifically with live betting in mind?
No. I not that I don't, but if I have the opportunity, I would for sure. But
not that you would be covering the game, but if you just went like, hey, or do you never go to that? Like, I'm going to go as a fan.
Believe it or not, I haven't been to a game as a fan in the last 3 years.
Okay. But you could if you wanted to from that
sure,
angle.
Yeah, I could walk down to where I live is walkable to the stadiums. But there is a restriction. If I remember right, there is a restriction on the sports betting apps when you're in game. Like there's a geolocator. From what I remember,
in the stadium,
when I was covering games, I would check out the line and there was a latency thing. I don't know if it still exists, but the geo tracker is. That's the lifeblood.
Sure, it is.
Because, like you say, Mitch, you see, Aaron Nola, throws a pitch and then all of a sudden grabs at his back, fire away at the over for the Braves or whoever they're playing.
Sure, I will say because I don't go to very many Raiders games because it's typically going to be on a Sunday afternoon and I want to be at a book or somewhere watching all the games and betting whatever I can. The last game I think I went to live here in town. That would have been Gonzaga, UConn 2 years ago in the tournament, and there was a couple of books that I could get down on live because you could just tell it was going to turn into a blowout. And
Were you
was
ahead?
going to kill them.
Were you ahead?
We were ahead, yeah.
Attaboy.
And we were ahead at the time. Yep.
Nice.
It's kind of strong.
Yeah, but it was maybe like half a possession or something like that.
See, that
helps. It's better than being 3 possessions behind watching at home on the couch.
What do you think of Field of Dreams?
I am a Field of Dreams Fan. Love it. I still can't understand. There was one thing when Moonlight Graham, the showing of Moonlight Graham, they put his stats up from 1915 or whatever it was. He actually played in 1922. The stats are incorrect in that quick flash on the board.
Oh, good catch.
The nerd that I am, and when at work, I sat right behind a baseball encyclopedia. I'm like, all right, did Moonlight Graham exist? He did. But they got the year wrong. I never
how would they do that? That's really awkward.
Shoeless Joe was right-handed,
well, that's
too.
a problem, too.
That's another one.
Yeah.
What do you think of the people that are anti-Field of Dreams on social media?
They're weirdos.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody has their taste.
How about Hoosiers?
Hoosiers is strong. Yeah, picket fence.
Yeah,
picket fence. Yep.
Ollie dribbled that ball off his knee. I still feel bad for him.
Yeah. How about, what do you think of Fountain Blue? I was just there. I thought it was awesome.
Strong. We ate, I would recommend Don's Restaurant.
Okay.
John, the GM there, came over, took good care of us. We flipped him an Eagles shirt because he was all over the Eagles in the Super Bowl. He's not a Philadelphia guy, but he kept going on and on about the props. You know how. So he was excited about that. But Fountain Blue is really strong.
Best cheesesteak in Philadelphia.
John's Roast Pork, Wecco and Snyder. It's a little shack that won a Beard Award for its cheesesteak.
Really?
Wow.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so it's well known there, obviously.
It is.
Do tourists know about it?
When you guys come, you'll call me and we'll go there. Occasionally, you know, it's right next to the shopping center I go to, the Acme there.
Okay.
And you'll see, people with different jackets, Packers, especially when somebody's in town. So it's not as known as Pat's and Geno's because that's on, every broadcast, national broadcast in Philadelphia. But John's Roast Pork, even though it's John's Roast Pork, they have the best cheesesteaks.
Wow. Okay. Tony Luke's?
They're top 10-ish.
Top 10? How many spots are there?
Was Gino Pat's?
They're mid. They're mid? No.
Top 10? That's it?
10-ish. I mean, there's D'Alessandro's. I mean, I don't want to bore people because they don't know these places.
Yeah.
But Gooey Louie's is a place that's...
I like the name.
It's in a little strip mall. It's been there for 50 years.
Really?
They put up... we get a steak, the three of us would split it. That's how big it is.
Oh, my God.
It's
really?
about $15. Not terrible.
Oh, okay. That's really good. That's
Wow.
manageable. The last time out, it's been a minute, but the restaurants downtown were amazing. I had spectacular pizza. Is it a good pizza town?
No, it's not.
Oh,
no, it's not. There's
interesting.
one or
Okay.
two places. I'm not much of a pizza guy, certainly like you guys. No, but I got all the Italian places for you. All the Italian places, including places in my neighborhood. We were talking off air, where a lot of the Fox guys go, a lot of the Eagles guys go, and it's a BYOB, which cuts down the number, and it's fantastic.
Great to meet you, Ed. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool coming in studio. Top bottom coming up next. Best and worst teams in the NBA and college basketball against the spread.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great spot there with Ed Barkowitz, longtime Philly sports writer, now teaching a class of sports betting at Rowan University. If you missed it, you can always go back and watch it on the VSiN Watch app on your iPhone. You can get it for your TV, actually. You can watch it on your Android as well. Here we go, Pauly, your weekly look at best and worst teams, ATS, NBA, college basketball. A lot of teams make the list this week. In the NBA, this is why the teams at the top here, it's so impressive to me. The Cavaliers are 38-19-1 ATS, usually laying big numbers. Hello, Magic the other night, winning by 40 points.
Yep.
The Grizzlies are number 2 on the list, 35-22-1. The Thunder, what was that last night?
It was a no-show for 3 quarters.
Yeah, it was.
The first half was atrocious. They allowed 76 points or something.
Yep. 33-22-4 ATS. Raptors are on the list, 10 games over. Pistons are 9 games over. They're coming on like gangbusters. Hello, Portland. The Trailblazers are 33-25-1 ATS. The Rockets are right there. The Clippers and the Lakers each hitting at 55%, if you round up, or maybe even a little bit higher. The worst teams in the NBA against the spread. No surprise, they've been the worst all year long. The Suns are 20-37-1.
Woo! And laying a good amount tonight.
Yes, they are. I can't get there with them.
Yeah, 6.5, 7 against the Pelicans. Yikes.
Right behind them, Sixers. 20-36-2.
1-12 ATS is home favorites.
Oh, my God. The Kings are 21-33-4. The Heat 23-33-1. Pelicans 24-33-1. And the Celtics, the opposite of the Cavaliers and OKC, laying big numbers most games, 25-33-1 against the spread. The best teams in the NBA to overs. The Cavaliers, 18 games over 500, 38-20. Memphis, they play in crazy games. Tempo really fast, a lot of points, 36-22 to the over. Denver in action tonight, big total against Milwaukee, the 35-23 over. The Knicks, great offense, bad defense, 33-24-1. The Jazz right there with them. The Hawks are 9 games over 500. The Pelicans and the Thunder also make the list, hitting at about 56% to overs. Best under teams in the NBA. The Magic are 38-22 under. The Hornets can't score in these recent games.
Yep.
They're 35-22 under. Nets 34-24. Celtics 33-36. Clippers 31-25-2 to the under. Boston should be 33-26 to the under. The best ATS teams in college basketball, and we'll go with teams at about 70% or right in that number. First of all, San Diego's number one. They should get rewarded for an at-large no matter what, just based on their covering.
Yeah.
They're 21-5.
What a story. Let's go. Rooting for them.
Covering on average by 7.6 points per game. Florida A&M, 19-6. Don't think I bet them this year. Robert Morris, 22-7. Southeast Louisiana, 18-7-2.
This is the trash.
Yep.
All right, in Bachelari's wheelhouse.
Central Connecticut State, 18-7. Florida, not the trash, but 20-8. Houston Christian, 19-8. San Jose State, 19-8-1.
It was a 17-1 and 2-1 run, though.
Yeah, they've been fade material lately.
That's right. Yep. Liberty, good program, good team.
Yep. And Southeast Missouri State on the list as well.
Those last two could be tournament teams. Although you're looking at, Southeast Mall might be a 16, but
the worst teams in college basketball against the spread.
Oh boy, this team's atrocious.
Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, they're bad.
Yeah, they're 7-18-1.
Yes.
Same mark there as Eastern Washington and Grand Canyon, 7-18 against the spread.
What happened here
with Grand Canyon?
Yeah,
it's a good question.
I mean, they're still likely to play Utah Valley in the WAC title game if form holds. But you have Alabama on the ropes last year to go to the Sweet 16 and.
Good story. Good team.
Yeah.
And that was maybe a one-year wonder for him. Who knows? Princeton, 8-18 ATS. Western Illinois, 8-18-1. Alabama, more trash here. Alabama A&M, 8-17. Sam Houston State, 8-17. And the following teams are 9-19 against the spread. We got Lemoyne, Northern Kentucky, Air Force, NC State, Richmond, and South Florida. The best over teams in college basketball. Lemoyne on the list again with Temple and USC at 21-7 to the over. South Dakota, by the way, these totals have gotten too high in the Summit.
Summit, I know.
More unders
caught
here.
Up with them, yeah.
Yeah, but they're 20-7 to the over. Tennessee State 19-7. North Florida, they'll play in some insane games as well. 21-8 over. Western Carolina's on the list. Indiana State, Northwestern, and Howard. And the best under teams in college basketball on the year. St. Louis. They are 20-6 to the under, hitting at 76.9%.
Yeah.
Kansas and Cincy, 20-8. New Mexico State, 17-7 to the under. West Virginia, 19-8-1. Arkansas Little Rock, 19-8. Southern Utah, 16-7-1 to the under.
All right. Very good.
Strong list. You're going to want to know that stuff come tournament time.
St. Louis had that 12-1 under run as well. Hockey, number one team ROI, the Capitals, almost up 16 units. The Jets, right behind them, up 14 units with the win last night. 11 in a row for Winnipeg. Anaheim, up 11-38. Columbus, 11-28. And Montreal, 9-62. $100 bet every game. You're up 9 units on Montreal. The worst, still Nashville leading the way, and it's not close. Down almost 21 units on Nashville. San Jose, you're down 15 units. Chicago, you're down almost 11 units. Pittsburgh, minus 10 units. And Boston, 927. Streaks and runs. Chris Otto at PSU Auto on X. Ian Duncan as well at Ian Dunks. Goal, first 10. Dallas, 15-2 run. St. Louis, 13-2 run. Toronto, 16-3 run. First 10 at home. Minnesota, let me update that. It's a 9-0 run. Florida, 7 of 8. Edmonton, 6 of 7. St. Louis, 13 of 15. First period overs. Edmonton, 13 of 15. On it again tonight against Florida. Capitals, 7 in a row. Overall, Toronto 24-5, Dallas 17-3, Florida 7-1. Unders. New Jersey leads the way, 38-19-2. Anaheim 37-17-2. St. Louis 33-22-4. Vancouver's played 7 straight unders. And for overs, Columbus 33-24-2. Ottawa, Columbus 33-24-2 to the over. Ottawa's on a 7-1 overrun, so was Washington. Your updated hockey numbers and a good card tonight, and we'll be playing some of these coming up. Those are your streaks. A lot of stuff going on thanks to the guys putting it together.
All right. You're really getting into the hardcore college basketball stuff now and the NHL.
Right around the corner now.
Yeah.
That's right.
March is this weekend.
8 days bids go out. Ohio Valley Saturday, and then there's 4 bids that Sunday, March 9th, whatever it is.
Right.
Yep. And I always like the conference tournaments, especially the little guys, too.
Yeah, me too.
It's their big moment.
It is.
Yep.
That's why, we go on this rant every single year. It kills us personally that the best team from the conference, the lower conference, needs to get in from the regular season. Because so many times we've seen this where they're, 17-1, and they lose to a hot shooting team that was 9-17 on the year. And then you want to talk about the trash advancing to getting in, and they take that tournament winning team. You can do whatever you want as a conference. You don't have to have these conference title games.
What'd you just do for the last 3 months?
Or
nothing? Like it's a good chance. I'll give you an example. And you're right. There's a good chance Yale runs the table in the Ivy League. Wins every conference game. Sorry. Got to go win 2 more.
Yeah, and it's nonsense, right?
Why?
So you could have the conference tournaments if you would like. They're going to be on TV. You'll make some money from that way. But you could also put a caveat in the print that says, hey, doesn't mean that you're going to get the bid from the conference. Like, it's just, I know that would be, people would frown upon that because they're not used to it, but there's a way to make that actually work and massage it in. The regular season for 3 months or more has to mean more than 3 days. I don't understand how this is difficult to figure out. Every
time you win a game in March Madness, that's a lot of money for you and the conference. Why then would you send a below-average team instead of put your best representative out there that can make a deep run? Who the hell heard of Florida Gulf Coast before they made a run?
Lob City, who right?
VCU, whatever, right?
And then all of a sudden,
and how much money did that's
Where's
right.
This? Oh, look at that. It's right on the water. What a beautiful campus.
Maybe, never heard of it. Never heard of it. Sweet 16, bam. Oral Roberts, whatever. St. Peter's. It's another one. St. Peter's. Oakland, Michigan,
right.
Kid.
Yeah, of course. And we're going to expand the tournament and put more. You know what? If we're going to call those teams trash, we're also going to come back and say they're going to add more trash to the tournament and not the little guy. Like Oklahoma lost again last night. North Carolina's resume stinks. They don't belong in the tournament. Sorry, as you've been saying all week long, too many chances. You've had an opportunity after opportunity the entire year.
11 of them.
You don't have enough wins again where it matters. Sorry. And March Madness was built on the little guy going out there and winning as a 14 seed, and that's what the American public wants. They don't want more of the
first 4 days. Certainly.
God.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yes, right.
Fairleigh Dickinson. People couldn't get enough of that. Gulf Coast, Baltimore County.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll recap our bets from last night, get into our in-pocket plays for tonight. Next.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're right.
All right, we stay red hot in college hoops. Boise State ice cream pounds Utah State at home. Loser in hockey. Vancouver beats LA 3-2 in overtime. Good to see Eddie O on the call last night. Eclectic mix here. Cal State Northridge, the Matadors tonight at home, catching 5.5 against our darlings, UC San Diego. if someone's going to screw up round 3 in the rubber match between San Diego and Cal Irvine out here for the title game, it's going to be these guys. They're playing great ball. They're in third place, and they just took out Irvine as well. UC San Diego buried them in the first meeting. They need it like blood. If they have any chance of getting that at-large, they got to have it. And I think they will run the table if they win this game. But I'll take the Matadors, who are playing good ball, plus 5.5 and squeaky bum time if it's a close one for UCSD. Luka's only gone over his point prop once since the trade. I'll go under 27.5 tonight against the T-Wolves. Oilers-Panthers first period over. Edmonton on a 13-2 run, and they've given up a ton of goals coming out of the Four Nations break. Red Wings, Blue Jackets, goal in the first 10. Detroit's gone at 8 in a row, and Columbus is on a nice streak as well. It only took them 30 seconds in the last game against Dallas. And keep an eye on North Texas tonight. Good game against Florida Atlantic. I think the wrong team's favored. North Texas 20-6 on the season straight up. Not the best card, but it's a deep card tonight in college hoops. Good luck, everyone.
All right. Plays from last night. Celtics Pistons over 226. That was a loser. Celtics did nothing in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Pistons scored 117, blew them out. Oh my God, I got to get you that stat. Sean Grandy tweeted out, Pistons play-by-play guy. This is absolutely bonkers.
You were on that with Best Bet, though. That was 3 games and 4 nights for the Celtics.
Yeah, I did. I didn't have it in pocket, but I did.
G-Bank.
Yeah, had the Pistons last night in the game. Sean Grandy tweeted this out last night, who is very good on Twitter and also their play-by-play guy. The Celtics were, keep in mind, they hit 11 threes in the second quarter. The NBA record is 12 for any quarter.
Oh, it is?
That's why we were tied at halftime. The Celtics were 49-4 in franchise history when making 21 or more threes.
Oh.
41-1 when making 21 or more and hitting at least 43% of them. They did both last night in Detroit, and they lost by 20. I don't know, man. Maybe this Pistons team's going to be a little dangerous come April. So anyway, that happened to be a loser.
Yeah, maybe even a 4 seed.
You want to know what?
That's another one.
Yeah, squeaky bum time was last night.
What a game.
At the same time, Oklahoma, Kentucky is finishing as Arkansas and Texas. That game went to overtime. Arkansas blew. They were leading by like 9-12, I think, the entire game. And then slowly but surely, they just could do nothing on offense. They kept fouling Texas. Texas got back into the game. They tied it. We went to overtime. They got out to a lead in overtime. And then somehow, if you had Texas plus 4.5, that's a brutal kick to the breadbasket. But Arkansas money line minus 140. At the same time, Oklahoma covered plus 3.
Good point. I forgot about that. They called the flagrant foul.
Yep.
In a 1-point game there. Yeah.
Also, if you were watching the end of the Kentucky game, they went to the replay after their... So Olway made the basket. That leaner off the glass like this. Yeah. It was awesome. Then came down. He blocked a shot. Another guy for Kentucky got the same shot. They went to replay, and I'm thinking in my head,
what were they doing?
What are you looking at here?
Yeah, game was over.
Are you going to say that they fouled Brea and he's going to go free throw line, hit 2 shots?
Let's see if there's time left, right? Was it time?
Are they going to say that the Oklahoma kid was fouled and call? You can't do that.
No.
There's no way. Were they going to go and say we need more time on the clock?
Yeah.
I was losing my at the house.
I couldn't believe it.
So thank God they kept their mind straight there and said, okay, game's over. Let's get out of here. And then
I can't figure out who the flagrant foul was on.
Oh, in the Arkansas
game.
Bad call.
I couldn't believe it.
That was a bad call. It's
like he grabbed a jersey or anything.
Yeah. So anyway, that was some good action last night.
Yeah, it was.
Tonight,
St. John, and it's right around the same time St. John's is close, nip and tuck with Butler.
That's right. So tonight I'm doing 2-player props, and I put this up on the VSiN page immediately last night. Again, you need to be looking at what lead guards and their points prop is going to be against the Lakers. Look, I love this Lakers team now. I did a 180. I just don't want to bet them at their current number to win the whole thing. But LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, dynamite offensively. We all know that. Defensively, going to be an issue. Kyrie had 35 the other night against Dallas. So they get Anthony Edwards in Minnesota tonight. Well, Edwards, last check, questionable. If he plays tonight, that tells you that he's going to be, he'll be totally fine. At least I hope. This opened 26.5. I bet it immediately, went up to like 28.5. So got that in pocket, put it on the side immediately. And then Jimmy Butler on the year is averaging 5.5 rebounds and 5 assists. His game since he came over for Golden State, he's actually been a pretty strong assist guy. 5 in back-to-back games, 7 against Sac, 4 against Houston, 7, 6, and 4. His rebounds, he had a couple of games with 3, but other than that, 8, 8, 9, 9. I played this at plus money. Jimmy Butler to have 5 plus rebounds and 5 plus assists at plus 130 tonight against the Orlando Magic.
Good Jimmy. Juice Reel, bringing real transparency to the picks marketplace. No fake records, no hiding bets. Everyone on Juice Reel syncs their accounts, importing their betting history directly from the books, ranks every bettor based on their actual betting record, and sharp bettors can even get paid when others follow their picks. Tail proven. Verified winners on Juice Reel, free in the App Store, REEL. Get it, Juice Reel. Download Juice Reel today. Good card tonight. Freak is on a limits restriction. I don't mind Denver. Remember, favorites have been crushing it in the NBA, at least winning games. So Denver, a small road favorite. I like Golden State. Magic have been in horrible form. You pointed out how good Golden State's been since getting Jimmy. I think it's too much for the Lakers tonight against Minnesota. Also, how will Redick treat it? A back-to-back. They play the Clippers tomorrow. And now we're seeing Mavericks money now. After you're taking on the Hornets, who have lost 3 in a row by a combined 131 points, an NBA record.
Are you? How confident in you are you in the Nuggets tonight? With Giannis being now questionable.
8.5. I don't think Milwaukee's going to get stops. And Denver's been so good offensively.
Here's what I'm asking. I'm really looking at, I want to do, because everything we talked about yesterday, like the money line parlays, like everything came in.
Right.
And I did one of those. And it was, trust me, there was a huge sweat because I had the Clippers on the money line. So that took a minute to get there. But I really want to put Dallas on a money line parlay tonight.
Yeah, sure.
But there's not much out. Like the college stuff, NBA, I'm not doing Phoenix. No way, no how. I don't want to do Golden State.
Yeah, I don't blame you if you're scared off Phoenix. Put Michigan on there. You don't want to do Golden State.
Nah. Orlando's off a 40-point thumping.
Yeah.
You know, Mackinnon writes about that all the time at vsin.com. Teams typically respond after something like that. But what if I did Denver and Dallas? It pays about even money.
And throw Michigan on there.
What do they have tomorrow?
They're playing Rutgers right now. They're playing Rutgers.
Okay.
They're laying 9.5 tonight. What a job he's done.
He's done a great job.
Come in and might win the league. Sure. Great.
What time's that game start? I don't even have that on my radar.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Maybe that'll be a consideration.
All right. You got support with Field of Dreams.
Yeah, I got plenty of it.
Damn. I'm surprised.
I don't have to read out all the tweets and go scoreboard on you, but yeah, plenty of people were agreeing with me.
Now, how about Patrick McLaughlin saying Buc-ee's is better than Portillo's?
Oh, my God. So
I spent 4 hours there, he said. I loved every minute of it. He said, people watching.
Let me get the text.
Unbelievable.
I said, there's no way you're serious here, Pat.
Right. He's the guy who took us to Portillo's. Where were you?
Long
right
Beach.
by Anaheim with the stadium.
That's right.
Okay.
100% serious. Total destination. He's calling a gas station a total destination. Over 100,000 square feet. Well, we know about that. Great jerky. I'm in. Banana pudding.
Barbecue, apparently.
Barbecue sandwiches and the cleanest bathrooms in the industry.
Wow.
He had a delayed flight
says.
in Birmingham. He spent 4 hours there, people watching.
Yeah.
Hard to explain, but you will go not have one bad review on Buc-ee's.
Put your video up, Luke. Luke tweeted out his video when he was at Buc-ee's. We brought it up because Barkley was on the Auburn game last night, and he said, you know, they put a Buc-ee's in there, and he said, I go all the time, but I've never been inside. I get gas. You got 100 pumps, whatever. Because every time I go there, there's thousands of people in there. I said, the hell with it. And I don't go in. And suddenly we're like dumb. It was Ravitch and I think Jimmy Dykes, and they were baffled.
So I wonder if Barkley's ever had like people go there for him though, and actually enter the spot and like get some of the food for him, because everybody's raving about the food.
Yeah, because Barkley was talking about how good the food is too. So maybe that is the case.
Or just they probably DoorDash it there.
I guess you could do that, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they in the middle of nowhere though? You got that? That'd be some fee there. You got that? We should do that with the A&W. Can we do that? It's like half an hour away. Can we get the door? Yeah, baby. Humans and Murray up next.